My name is Silvia Rossi, and I'm a psychic medium here in New Jersey. I've been in practice for about 30 years or so, and I worked with bereaved families and individuals that are looking to make contact with their relatives that have passed on. And work has been pretty interesting, to say the least.
What is the soul?
So, what is a soul? Well, the soul is energy. It is an energy system. I don't even like to call it soul anymore because through successive readings, they have spoken about this very topic to clients. And what the information that has come through in readings has also educated me on is that the soul is an energy system that not only powers your body, but it also helps individuals manifest their entire life. And so we are a fine tuned body that is able to take energy and convert it into this body that you see. And this energy is much more expansive than just managing the body. It is connected to what I would refer to as the creator, and therefore, by virtue, connected to everything in creation that is seen and is unseen.
Is a soul born? Does a soul die?
Let's see, my understanding of a soul is that a soul is created by our creator. And it is created with the intention of having self directed will, free will. And we are here to create, we're an extension of the creator itself. Does a soul die? Not by the definition of what we think death is, but I think a soul does reach a point in its growth and in its evolution where it's assimilated back into the creator. That to me is not death. That to me is the continuation of life and learning and expansion, growth, and evolution.
What's the difference between a young soul and an old soul?
The difference between a young soul and an old soul. Young souls really are just kind of learning the ropes of what it is to be in the human condition, the limitations. They may be faced with many challenges in a lifetime. And they, in my opinion, they kind of can't connect the dots of the cause and effect of why things happen to them, why things happen in life. Uh, they're kind of a little unaware of the connection that we as individual souls have with our infinite creator. An old soul, and I don't even like to use that term. I like to use the term as advanced soul. And advanced souls are easily identifiable. They could be young, they could be children. And these children have this awareness of life around them, this wisdom to them. And as the saying goes, out of the mouth of babes, because they just have this wisdom of life that chronologically they shouldn't have, but they do. And so they just seem to navigate a little bit better, have a different philosophy about life, have an awareness to them that speaks to a spiritual knowledge that is not easily discernible, but somehow exists and is expressed, to their parents, to how they deal with crisis, to how they explain things in a more advanced way, how they view the world in a more advanced way.
What is the soul's relation to Source/God?
The relationship between source and the soul is one that is in constant motion, but we are offshoots. We are creations of our creator. And we are all gathering information through the experiences that we live as individuals here on earth. And constantly, if you will, uploading that information to a mainframe computer, which is Source, which is God, our infinite creator. And there is a relationship that goes on. There's an awareness, even if it's a subconscious awareness, that there's a higher intelligence that is not easily discernible in the physical plane, but it is unseen. There's a creative force that is at play in the universe and that we are part of it, but we are offshoots. We are creations that have the ability to self-direct and create in a microcosm that is our lives. I believe that we are working ourselves back to that creative force that created us through the knowledge that we gather. And as we gather that knowledge, we are then in cooperation, working in cooperation with the creator itself, so that the creator then expands, learns, and is able to assimilate all this incredible information throughout life. And I'm sure that we're not the only sentient beings that are doing this.
Does the soul plan its incarnations ahead of time?
Well, we incarnate. There's two schools of thought on that. There's a school of thought that, on one hand, it's already pre-prescribed. There's no voluntary choice in who and in what conditions, what families, what body we incarnate. And then there's this school of thought that we do have a say, we do have an input. Now, I think both are right, and I'll tell you why. I think we have a higher self that is constantly connected to God and that higher intelligence that always has our best in mind, even if we can't see it or experience it at the moment. And so when we look at this life, when we are about to be born and deciding to come into this existence, it is a plan. And it is, to me, in my opinion, a well formulated plan of a life that is designed to help us evolve. And through the different circumstances, i.e., problems that we are undoubtedly going to encounter in the journey that we are about to face.
What is the veil of forgetting and why do we need it?
So, why do we forget that we are infinite beings once we're born into this life? Well, it's kind of like the same thing as why we're not giving the answers to a test. You're supposed to learn, and the learning experience is isolated to what you learn here. And we're learning specific lessons. Some are forgiveness, some are to find the courage, find belief in the self, find the connection to God, etc. And it is through the experience itself of life and all the individual embedded experiences in there that propel us there. So we would not have the desire or the determination to work past some of our challenging times if we had the answer. So that's pretty much it. You don't get the answers because you're supposed to go through it. And that is what, the veil of forgetfulness that we experience of how infinite a life we are is pretty much taken away for that specific reason.
Are we judged or punished for our mistakes in the afterlife?
Does God really punish us? I don't think so. I think that we punish ourselves. I think that we just reap what we sow at the end of the day. And we live the consequences of that. And I mean, that could be here and in the hereafter. We're here to strip away the ego, pretty much. We're here to learn. It's not really a punishment, it's a learning experience. So our life review on the other side is an attempt for us to learn from whatever mistakes we made. Mistakes are fueled by actions. Actions are fueled by concepts and ideas and emotions that are embedded in us, positive or negative. So sometimes it balances out. Sometimes there's more positive. Sometimes there's more negative. So at the other end, I don't believe that there's judgment per se and punishment. I think the soul, we agree to learn. And if we're not learning, then what are we doing? Why are we here? We're here to learn, to evolve, to grow, to create out of love, not fear, not anger, not vanity, not any of those lower vibrating emotions.
Do we have soul groups that we incarnate with across different lifetimes?
So, what are soul groups? Well, soul groups are definitely the family that you're born into, the friends that you will make throughout your life, the social groups that you will gravitate towards, even coworkers that you meet and you forge professional relationships. These are all soul groups that perform some sort of function. I mean, you learn from people in your soul group. You learn from what not to do within your family sometimes, just by virtue of, whether it works for someone else, what's working, what's not working, what did work for your parents, what does or doesn't work for you uh, in comparison. Our soul groups are also, in my opinion, predetermined. And in on the positive end, on another end, I mean, you could have a soul group that decides to come to show the world the consequences of what not to do, or how not to live, or the consequences of what happens when bad forces, evil forces take over the world, such as those that agreed to come to be part of a Holocaust and a group of individuals that were targeted. That is in of itself historically significant because it teaches humanity how not to act and how to eradicate those elements within humanity and within ourselves uh, to be better people.
Are there contracts or agreements between souls?
So, soul contracts, great idea, great stuff. Uh, they've shown me in my readings that there is such a thing as a soul contract. That contract has everything that you will experience in this lifetime. And on the other end, the lessons that are to be learned. And for instance, you'll say, "Oh, I'm going to be born. Uh, my dad is not the nicest guy, and I'm going to have to go through a divorce, and I'm going to feel lonely. I may have a problem with alcoholism, but it's all to learn how to love myself. It's all to learn to what my true potential is as a human being once I get past it. Sure, I'll learn it. Sign on the dotted line, boom, you're born." And then soul contracts with larger groups. This is all learning experience. You all learn. So even in your family, there could be people that could appear to you in this lifetime and experience this person as an evil person, an antagonistic person, a person that just doesn't understand, that doesn't support you. Well, what if I told you that that person is here to teach you to believe in yourself? And that soul signed this contract to do that for you, and you agreed to it on the other end. Well, isn't that a great lesson to learn? And won't that make your soul and your life here and that experience worthwhile?
What's the purpose of life on the physical plane?
We're here to learn at the very basic level, to learn, to get past certain things. But we, as a humanity, are the grand experiment on this planet. And we are here to get past all the physical challenge that we face as individuals, as humans, as the whole of humanity here on earth, in order to become our creator. And that is to create this expanded consciousness of light, to create not out of selfishness and doubt and ego, but to create out of love and to create out of goodness and to spread light, to spread knowledge, to spread uh, this higher consciousness that is God, that is uh, for the advancement of not only us individually as the human race, but to contribute to the expansion of the universe, the expansion of life itself. I believe that everything is connected, from the small molecules that are within us to our soul, to our families, to the soul groups that we affect, to the nations that we live in, to the world that we inhabit and beyond. And I believe that it's an energy. We're all evolving all at once. And even if it seems as though it's separate, but it's really, we're all could just continuously evolving, learning, growing, being challenged. I don't think if we were not challenged, we would evolve. So I think that's the whole premise, is to evolve past all these challenges to get to that place of enlightenment.
Many people experience challenges while living in a body. Does the soul seek such challenges, and if so, why?
Yes. So you did come to experience everything that you've gone through and will go through. You chose to go through that divorce. You chose to go through that job loss. You chose to go through that unfortunate financial ruin, to learn, to get past it, to find out what you're made of, to show yourself how resilient you can be, how you can reinvent yourself out of love, that you're just more than who you are in your marriage, the career that you chose. You're more than what you think you are, because you are infinite. And so there's infinite possibilities of what you can create with your life. So you can reinvent yourself. You can go through a divorce and find out that you can have a soulmate waiting somewhere else at some other time in your life and have a fulfilling relationship as well. So it's never an end to anything. Endings are, in fact, beginnings. So I get this question a lot. Why someone would choose to come into a life where the body is afflicted, ill, or is going to experience great emotional or physical pain, or live in a part of the world which is embattled, impoverished. Those are really difficult questions to answer. But if you come back from that experience having learned to be compassionate, having learned not to create war, not to be divisive, not to be a party to what I would call hatred, then I think then there's value in that lesson. As to being born in an afflicted body, or someone that will have cancer, and die very young, that's a really difficult question to answer. But in my opinion, I feel that even though that soul is going through great difficulty, great pain, great challenges internally, I feel that person is learning and can learn how to live more deeply, how to love more deeply and expansively, how to be more authentic, maybe not to waste time. Sometimes it is in these moments that we're faced with final, like some sort of finality to our lives. We have the courage to live fully. We have the courage to live authentically. We also can teach those that are around us how to do that as well. So maybe by the example that we set forth in facing those challenges unafraid and coming through them, or maybe not, you've taught yourself and you've taught someone else and other people how to do it. A life that we might deem as challenged and maybe not worth living in somebody else's opinion is not that at all. Sometimes there is value in the experience and learning in the experience, even if it's to hug, to love, to live life to the fullest, no matter how long the life is.
Do spirit guides or angels assist us?
So just like we have mother, a father, sister, brothers, grandparents, cousins, we also have spirit guides on the other side that you know and you're familiar with and you have a relationship before you're born into this existence. And they are there in the unseen world to help us get through our challenging times. They're there to support us. They're there to give us encouragement through ideas, uh, breakthrough ideas that get us out of a tight spot, um, help us weather through very difficult times, and generally are our spiritual family. Just like we have the physical one here, there are our spiritual family that, like any family, unites and rallies around us when we go through these hard times, and celebrates with us as well when we learn our lessons, when we are enjoying and reaping the benefits of, you know, going through the great times in life. So they're essentially assigned to us to help us with the different stages and help care for us in the most loving and compassionate ways. And sometimes you get glimpses of that. Um, Sometimes people dream of people that have passed, or these guides that come in and encourage them. I know for myself that I've had odd experiences with guides, and they have revealed themselves to me in different parts of my life. And if it didn't happen to me the way it did, I don't think I would be as believing in guides. But I had repeated dreams for years of an Asian gentleman dressed in fine robes, um, that he kind of looked like he was from either northern China, somewhere around there, and just kept appearing in my dreams. No rhyme, no reason. My dreams were very random. Sometimes I remember one in which I was dreaming I was um, in a carnival with my high school friends. And there he was again, popping his bald head, you know, and looking at me. And I was just mystified. And at this point, I just didn't know why this individual was appearing. And I got annoyed. I said, "Why the heck are you here? Why are you like constantly, why are you bothering me?" He just smiled. He didn't say a thing to me, just smiled very lovingly. And about maybe a couple years later, I ended up having a reading with another medium. And this was way before I came into my uh, own career as a medium. And she said, "Oh, there's a guide here. And that guide is Asian looking, wearing beautiful, like, robes, traditional, like Asian Chinese robes, and described him to me to a T. And I was just floored. I had told no one of this, not a single soul. And because I thought it was just my imagination or my dreams, just a dream. And here this was a complete stranger to me describing this very person who only existed in my dreams. And she comes out with, "Well, he's one of your guides. He's been trying to tell you and prepare you for your spiritual work." And I said, "Well, that's crazy. I just never experienced anything like this." So, yeah, they do exist. Guides are real, and guides are here to guide you.
Is life on the physical plane an illusion?
Uh, what is this earthly plane? Is it a dream? is it real? Well, I'm on that very journey myself. So I do believe that we are part of that creation. So we're creating our reality as we go. But I believe this place is real. I believe there's a real element to it. However, I think the conditions under which we live are our own creation, therefore illusory. So we can create better life simply by thinking it and acting on that positive thinking. So I think the reality is the soul that we are, and the rest is the story that we construct about the life that we live. So it's kind of like a narrative. It's no different of saying, like, so you think you are? Well, it's kind of like the same. So you are, and so you, as you exist, you create that reality that is based on the belief system that you are living. And so this earth, although it is a real place, it is a place that can change as we change.
Describe the life review.
Well, what my work has taught me about what happens to the soul after we pass on. The soul, it goes through a review that encompasses the entirety of one's life. And what did we learn? What did we not do? What did we do that either added or subtracted to the quality of life? Did we love the way we wanted to love? Were we authentic in our human expression of who we are? And I think we're here to learn from whatever our mistakes or failures have been, so that we take that information with us in our soul, and we can either learn and move on from it and go on to the next stage of life, having learned that, whether it is reincarnate back with that information or move on to the next stage, which is the eternal.
Discuss the idea of oneness/unity and how we can apply it in our everyday lives.
So, what is this idea about oneness? Everybody talks about in the spiritual community, we're one. We're one soul, we're one consciousness. And yes, I believe that we are. From the point of view of the higher point of view, there is an energy grid between everyone. We are connected through the energy of our soul worldwide. And I do believe that that unifying force that is our soul, that is essentially our creator that we're connected to through that energy force is connected. So we're that child, or we're that person that we just had that fight with. We're that person across the world that needs to go to the well to draw water. And at a very high spiritual level, yes, we have that connection. And I think as we spiritually grow individually and as a whole, I think that we're going to discover how connected we are. But it's no different than, when somebody gets an idea to create an invention, and all of a sudden you have many people like inventing the same thing or different versions of the same thing. It's that collective consciousness that seems to be permeating the airwaves of consciousness that people start to act on. I don't think that that's a coincidence. I think that that is sometimes a real example of how we are all unified in this seemingly um, separate and divisive world. I, that is the illusion that we're divided or that we're separate. But I believe the true reality is that we are all one. We are all unified. When you have the awareness that we are all one, you start to take stock and really understand that that person that's going through some difficult, or that person behind the counter at the store is really you. So it's just a different body, a different history, a different experience, but we are our soul after all. And the illusion is that we're so different. We're not different. We all yearn for love, to be loved, and to experience that love. And through that love comes that sense of perfect oneness. And that is how God creates, through that perfect oneness. And I feel that that is part of the reason of why we're here to evolve to that point that we totally realize that we're all together on this journey, separately, but together. Separately learning, but together learning. And I think that that's the beauty of the soul and coming to that place of discovery that love is the unifying force that unites all humanity.
Where is heaven?
You know, I get the question of where is heaven all the time. And, well, you certainly can't put it on your GPS on your phone. Heaven is not a destination. Heaven is a state of spiritual consciousness and awareness. It is a state that does not involve the body as we know it. It's an inward journey into another dimension that is accessible through our soul, through the connection that we have with our Creator within that soul, or that mind and soul. And so heaven is this state of existence that does not involve any of the earthly challenges, divisiveness. It's almost like this is a game. This is a school, a game of sorts where if we learn these lessons, if we pass these challenges, we get to experience what the answers are. And the answers are yes, we're unified. Yes, we get to experience more profoundly uh, what spirituality means to us, what is God to us. And through that, we eliminate all these conditions that are egoistic. And so heaven is this place, it's a real place, but it's a place that we get to when there is true perfection and perfection of the soul. And we're all on that journey. That's why we're here. That's why we're here to strip away the consequences that we somehow feel, the limitations, the challenges, to strip away the ego attachments of life, to get to the point of the knowledge that the soul is the all powerful, and the God within that soul that creates us is all powerful.
What is death?
I don't even like that word death. I truly believe it's just a change, a transformation, that we leave behind this body, this vehicle that we exist in for a very short time in comparison to eternity, to then go back to what our true state is. And our true state is a soulful state, an energetic state, a one of consciousness, full awareness, and full joy. And that is, to me, heaven. So, what does it mean to be enlightened? Enlightenment is the process by which we learn, and we've learned and put into practice uh, what we're here to learn: brotherhood, sisterhood, self love, love, the opposite of what sometimes we think we're here to achieve, which is not earthly gain. It's not the money in the bank. It's not the houses that you buy, although, hey, that's great if you have it. But enlightenment simply means to find the essence of life. And the essence of life and living is to get close to God and to evolve towards the consciousness of the Creator itself. And which means the stripping away. And once we reach that state of full consciousness and enlightenment, there really is no need to come back to any of this. Who would want to come back after they've been enlightened? It's sort of a conundrum. Maybe you'll be a guardian angel, maybe you'll be a guide, but you may not come back, because what would be the point if you've learned those lessons? And the enlightenment is the the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, so to speak, of our lives. So that is the true goal, for us to reach that enlightenment, uh, so that we can cross that threshold into eternity.
What are some practical applications of the idea that we're eternal spiritual beings?
As we go through these experiences in life, how can, we live a better life? I think challenging ourselves to be better than the day before. So pursuing your own growth is key in that, in having a better life. Uh, the realization that truly nothing is personal, that everyone in your life is good and bad, a player. They have a role to perform, to teach you about aspects of yourself that you're here to perfect or to eliminate altogether, to work through and eliminate. And lastly, that you're infinite completely, and that what we call death is not death at all. It's a change. You're moving from one level to another level. And of course, to love deeply, to come from a place of love. That's sometimes the drive that we have in our lives, to love our life, to love our jobs, to love people in life, to create relationships out of love. I think that's just one of the strongest and most positive of emotions that any human can have. What kind of life would this be if we didn't have the ability to love? I think that makes it so special and meaningful. So live life authentically. Work on yourself. Work to a place where you can love yourself, whether you have the millions in the bank or not, whether you are model sized or not, and to love each other that way also. I think that's infinitely valuable. I think once you get there, it's just it's perfect. It's just, to me, it's the the expression of perfection.
What does our soul want us to know?
So your soul, what I believe your soul wants you to know is that you are powerful. You are infinite. You are capable of withstanding so much challenge and pressure that this life can present, and difficult pressure, and you can get past it. There is no doubt. There's so many stories out there of just people with all sorts of, you know, conditions and life conditions and setbacks that get past it, that have something to teach us. And so we are here to learn how ever powerful and unified we are, that we are eternal, that we are ever expanding, and we're limitless as a soul. So at the end of your day, at the end of your life, who really are you? I believe you're a soul, an energy, and you're here to remember that. You're here to recall that, and you're here to put that into action, to manifest positively in this earthly plane. Manifest it individually through your individual acts, manifest it in your relationships out of positively and just love. And in that way, we're all on that journey to remember that, to discover that, and to remember it at the same time. Because I think we already know that. We just temporarily forget it to learn the lessons we're here to learn, to then remember it again. So it's kind of like a conundrum, but it is what it is. We're just souls that are evolving constantly, basically on the same learning track through different avenues. And we're getting to that same destination.
Is there a positive message or message of hope you'd like to leave us with?
So if you're going through difficult times, don't give up. Never give up. Keep on working on yourself, because you're the only one that has the answers. Nothing outside of you, no one outside of you is going to help when you're the one that needs to grow, when you're the one that signed up for the lessons that you're learning. Because I do believe that we are all headed towards an age of enlightenment, an age of complete unification and love. I think we are starting to take our baby steps into that time frame where humanity's going to discover so much more about who and what we are. And we're going to have more and more evidence of that in books, in movies, in series, in song, in all types of conversation. I think that we are developing at a very, very rapid rate right now. I think what awaits us in the next few years is going to be exciting, to say the least.